What's going on, guys? You're back. I'm your homeboy Sean Jones. I got my boy Ray Roberts, the man, the myth, the legend, right over there. How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm glad to be back talking some football with you, man. How was your trip to? I don't want to get too much into how the game was, but your trip to, Notre Dame's field up there in
South
what's it
Bend.
called? South Bend, yes. How,
Yes.
how was that? How was that? I heard it was a long trip for you.
The trip was a long trip, but it was a great time. To spend 4 days. Basically off from work, which is always good. And I
Nice.
drove a lot, going there and coming back, which was always a pain in your rear end. But the trip itself, being in the stadium for the first time, was just a great event. You mentioned the game. It was great up until the middle of the first half. You know what I mean?
We will definitely get into that. We'll definitely get into that. But
Yeah.
I'm happy you had a great time, Ray. I'm happy you're back safe and back in our arms so we can talk some football, guys. If you guys don't already know, this is an interactive college football podcast. So if you have any questions about college football, you can talk some other things. Kind of game mode needs to start. I don't know about that. Facebook user, you can put your name in here to put it in here. I'm not sure about that. I do like Gainwell, but if you guys have any
Um,
questions or anything like that, please put it in the comment section. Ray, you something next comment on
yeah.
that.
I have Kenneth Gainwell on 2 fantasy leagues. I think you should start too.
Fantasy football. This is not the fantasy football, but
It is not, but I just
hold on. Cut Fletcher Cox. He's whoa. Now you're going a little too far. You must be an Eagles fan. So I do appreciate Eagles fans. I'm an Eagles fan myself, but we are a college football podcast, so we do take some questions and stuff like that. So if you do have a comment or everything like that, please put that in the comment section right under here. We will interact with any comments that you have as long as it's clean. But we will do that. But let's get into week 5 because week 5 was crazy as always. This is a crazy season, Ray, and I'm really enjoying this week 5 right now. So let's get right into it. Let's get to our week 5. That's supposed to say review, not preview. Not preview. It should be review. So we're gonna switch that up right now. But let's get into our review right now. Of the week 5 because it was a crazy one, and we're gonna talk about some games. First game we're gonna talk about though, right, is the the state of Texas. Texas versus TCU. Both teams are in Texas. Um, TCU and Texas went neck and neck to just until the end. I thought it was a great game. Texas actually squeaked it out 32 on the 27. Ray, what were some of your takeaways from this game?
I thought it actually was a really good game. Not great defense, but some defensive plays being made. I thought that Max Dugan had a nice game. I thought Casey Thompson had a really nice game, both running and throwing. Bijan Robinson, I mean, what do you got to say? I mean, this guy is elevating himself up to maybe being one of the top running backs in the draft if he's not already. I mean, he had 216 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, average over 6 yards a carry. I mean, what else you got to say?
Definitely. Yeah, he started off this season a little slower than we expected. We thought he was going to come out the gate. Understandably, a lot of teams don't really, start off that hot. But yeah, the man had 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. I do have a question for you, Ray.
What's that?
Although he had 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, he had 35 attempts. Are you concerned about the attempt?
I mean, if I'm a team, I mean, I'm not. If I'm him, I'm not. Concern's not the right word. It's as you know, I love the draft, and I always hesitate taking guys that have a heavy carry load in college because sometimes that can translate in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's a young kid, man. I mean, he's a running back. You're Texas. Got to win games. If it takes him getting 35 carries and averaging 6 yards a carry, then that's what you got to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think that yeah, I mean, in college football, these guys are thinking about wins. They're not worried about, you know, your NFL career at that point. You know, we hope, they're hopeful, but like they have to play their game plan, and if it means that, hey, we gotta have to run you 35 times, I'm pretty sure in the moment, Robinson don't care. He wants
Yeah,
the
I
ball.
mean, when you're a running back, man, you want to be fed the ball. I mean,
Exactly.
Jonathan Taylor ran the ball a ton in college and hasn't
Oh yeah,
bothered him at all so far. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
well, I'm an old guy. I'm used to run. So when I see a team run the ball like that to that and be that effective in the run game, I love it.
Definitely. What do you think this game say about Texas? Because they kind of started the year kind of slow. What do you think this game says to you as far as a team? Like, do you think they're a team that can, maybe not be in the playoffs, obviously, but be a team to, get a good bowl game or have
I
a
think
really
I think maybe before we went on the air, me and you were talking about like how certain teams have that rep. Texas has a rep.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
if they continue to play well and build up enough wins, of course you want them in big bowl games or
Mhm.
Texas. You know,
Definitely. I agree. So, I think they will be there. Texas, TCU don't, not to discredit anything from them because they played a phenomenal game. Um, it does hurt them losing this game, but it tells you that, TCU is a team that you gotta kind of be careful for because they will kind of sneak up on you if you're not careful.
it was a good game, and Max Dugan had a nice game, and
He did.
Zach Evans, a running back, had 113 yards and only on 15 carries, averaged over 7 yards a carry. I mean, it was a back and forth game. This is the kind of game you like to see with teams like Texas and TCU. I mean, I enjoyed it. This is one of the favorite games of the week that I watched. Honestly, I thought it was a good game.
Me as well. I agree that it was definitely a great game. Let's get to our next game. Obviously, my Georgians are gonna be ecstatic talking about this. As you know, I'm in Georgia right now, but the Arkansas versus Georgia game. Arkansas was ranked number 8. Georgia was ranked number 2. And Ray, we talked about it in last week's podcast. We thought it was going to be a better game. 37-0. This Georgia team has not allowed any touchdowns this year, if I'm not mistaken. What do you want to say about this defense, Ray?
Um, we've talked about it. They have players on all levels. Georgia's defense is stacked. They can smother teams at times, and they did that to Arkansas. Arkansas is a good offense, but
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't tell by watching last week's game. They had less than 200 yards combined offense as a team. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, but we know Georgia's defense is good. They got to show their muscle last week for sure. So
Yeah, I mean, we were expecting, like I said earlier, we was expecting this Arkansas game to be closer. I mean, they were rolling over like people. That's why they ranked so high. They ranked number 8. And then Georgia came to town and just shut them down the entire game. It wasn't even a match. It was 21-0 at one point in the first quarter, right? That's how bad it was.
I mean, if you look, Georgia only threw the ball 11 times.
Mm-hmm.
They ran the ball for 275 yards. I mean, they controlled the game. They controlled the clock. Their defense didn't give up anything. Again, Arkansas, who has a good offense, and J.K. Jefferson is a very good college football player, but he just couldn't get anything done. They had less than 200 yards offense. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it was just an overwhelming defensive game by Georgia, basically.
I agree. And Georgia had a really nice balance in their running game as far as the players. They were rotating guys in, keeping them fresh, and they were successful. This is something that you think they can sustain throughout the rest of the season and possibly throughout the playoffs?
I think they can. I mean, they have Jameer White. They have James Cook had a nice game, averaging like 70 yards a carry. They ran the ball again for like 273 yards, actually. I mean, they had Kenny McIntosh, who had 2 touchdowns. There's another running back. They just did everything in the run game they wanted to do, basically.
Yeah. I agree. They would, like we said, they controlled the clock. They didn't give the Arkansas offense any chance to be on the field. The defense was stout when they were on the field. They were fresh, so that wasn't an issue. And they're playing very good complementary football right now. Offense, defense, special teams. This gonna be one of those teams where you like they dethrone Alabama. They might be able to dethrone. I'm not gonna say they are, but they got a chance to. I mean, we'll see when the time comes. You know how Kirby Smart is against Nick Saban, but
the one thing that's a little bit different now, though, I think, is that Alabama's offense is not great right now.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be great this year. It's going to get better because they're going to improve as they get coached up, and that always happens. And they'll be better a month from now. But you don't see the playmakers on offense that you've seen the last couple of years. I don't believe.
Yeah, I agree. So it's gonna be interesting seeing that SEC championship and how the playoffs go up, man. I'm excited. It just makes me happy and it makes me excited to see the end of the year and all the games leading up to that. So this is real cool. It's real cool.
Mm-hmm.
We needed this Arkansas game. As bad as the Arkansas played, I think we needed it. It just kind of tells us how the SEC is kind of shaping up this year.
Yeah, I think that Georgia probably wishes they would have maybe they shouldn't have scored as many points as they did because you don't want people to just like you don't want to show. Well, that's a good thing about old Georgia though. They didn't show anything. They just ran the ball down their throat and it worked. So
exactly. Yeah. So
it,
maybe they have some other wrinkles that they were saving for later.
Yeah, let's again. We just need Kirby Smart to forget that he has this thing about Nick Saban, and he'll be all right.
Yeah, he gets crazy when he plays that guy. But all right, let's go to our next game, right? I don't mean to give you bad flashbacks of the game, but we do have to talk about it. Let's get to the Cincinnati Notre Dame game. Notre Dame was ranked number 9. Cincinnati was ranked number 7. They beat Notre Dame 24-13. I believe no, Cincinnati was favored. Okay, I didn't know
By
that.
2, yes.
They were favored by. I got 2.5, but they were favored.
2.5, yeah.
2.5. Good game. I mean, you guys tried to march back. You got close, somewhat close. But you start off slow. What's some takeaways that you seen? You got to see firsthand on the field. So I want to know what was some of your takeaways from the game.
Notre Dame's offensive line is not very good. They had a hard time establishing a running game. They pretty much have most of the year. They're not able to run the ball, and Jack Cohn is not a good enough quarterback that he can do anything out of structure. He has to have a clean pocket to be a good player. They like you said, they had a horrible first half. They were down 17-0. They did make it 17-13, had a shot. A lot of that had to do with Cincinnati missing two field goal attempts, and they gave Notre Dame a shot, at the end.
Yeah.
And then they really had no answer for Alec Pierce, number 12 for him. He just had his way with Notre Dame's secondary. But again, it comes down to Notre Dame's defensive and offensive lines are not as good this year as they've been previously, and that's really you're seeing that come and hurting them right now. So.
Definitely. What did you take away from Ritter? He had a really good game. I want to know, we talked about him before as being a NFL prospect. Did this solidify anything to you when he, playing a good team and a team that a week ago their defense was looking like, they're back, and he kind of carved you guys up with 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. What's your takeaway with Ritter?
I think he had the benefit of playing with a short field a lot of the game. I think that Desmond Ritter is absolutely an NFL prospect. I don't think he's going to be a very good starting quarterback. I think he's a solid athlete with some arm talent, but that's all I really see. Notre Dame's inability to get pressure on him really hurt them last week.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about it last week. Your Notre Dame defense is just not the same. I mean, we was hoping last week. It was looking good last week. It looked like I said, we were excited to see that defense get back to where they were last year because they was like one of the best defenses And this year they just can't get it together. They just really can't.
You mean what you saw was last week Notre Dame blitzed a lot and they got home a lot. This week they blitzed and Ritter kind of like hurt them by throwing into the blitz and having a couple nice runs running right into where they were blitzing from, so there was no one there. I mean, they did, and like I said, Alec Pierce basically had 144 yards, 6 receptions. They really had no answer for him, and the defensive plan was there. They just weren't making the plays. They weren't getting home, and that quarterback had a second or two too long to throw the ball downfield. And Miami's secondary was a little bit sloppy in their technique and really not getting – they had drawn up a couple of double coverage like the cover Pierce, and he still was getting between them before because they weren't getting home on the blitz to get to the quarterback. I mean, they just weren't. They weren't getting no pressure on them. And it didn't hurt. It didn't help their defense that the offense couldn't sustain drives, especially in the first half. We started the game – it's going to sound stupid – we started the game with a really nice drive, got down to the 7, and then or down to 3, right down near the 5-yard line, and threw an interception, and really never got that close again for most of the first half. That play there, not scoring points, especially not scoring a touchdown, and then the next play they kick off to us and we fumble and we're down 10-0 before it even. And it's like Notre Dame's offense is not built to come back. They need to get a lead and establish the run game. That's the only way they're going to make any noise. And I think they could still get back into the top 10. I don't know if they're not going to be a playoff team. I mean, their quarterbacks are okay. Their offensive line not great. I mean, their defense is going to have to carry them. So when their defense has games like last week where they struggled to get off field on third down, they're probably not going to win. So
for sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, I was rooting for you guys because you was down there. You know, sad to see that y'all didn't win, and you know, you can't get that win on that long ride back. But I'm glad that, like I said earlier, I'm glad to see you back. I'm glad that you had a good time up there, and you know, hopefully next time you guys go up there, they can win.
I mean, got to.
No, not only that, but next time you invite me.
You got it, brother. That time I got a I mean, for the first time I ever went to a Notre Dame game, I got to see Touchdown Jesus. I got to see go up to the stones and pray. And I mean, I know I'm not a super religious person, but I have my beliefs, and I like to keep them to myself because that's what I think you should do as a Christian or a Catholic, however you want to say. Like, you don't need to preach to people. People don't like to be preached at. So I keep my but being in the stadium around all that stuff was like a religious experience for me. It really was.
Awesome. Great. You had that great experience. And maybe one day I'll be able to go to the big house.
Here you go.
One of my dreams.
I don't know if you have. Well, I mean, I can say it's funny. I'm a Notre Dame fan. This is the first time I've ever been there. Now, I've been to 5 Dolphins games.
Really?
3 in South Florida, 2 at the Meadowlands. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like the ones down South Florida are always interesting because it annoys me. The one thing I will say, there was way too many Cincinnati fans in the stadium, and that pissed me off. Okay?
Yeah. That's not supposed to happen.
No, that shouldn't happen. That annoyed me. I know we're really close to Ohio there, but it still annoyed me. That's the one thing I hate about going to Miami Dolphins games. 50% of the stadium is the other team's fans, and it annoys me.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from a person who grew up in the Philadelphia area, I think when I go into my stadium, I should see my colors. And that's all there is to it. I'm not talking about, I don't mind a sprinkle here and a sprinkle there. That's fine.
Yeah.
But to have whole sections of Cincinnati fans in South Bend,
that was crazy. That
should not happen. Shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. That's funny because the school kind of controls who goes in and stuff like that. You'll think that, they have more of the students go in, but it is what it is, man. They just worry about them getting the tickets and stuff.
I think they just worry about selling the tickets, man, and they honestly don't care who buys them.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're because a lot of them tickets are being sold through like ticket agencies, and that's
yeah.
the problem. The ticket agency buys the tickets and then resells them at a higher price to whoever they want to sell them to.
True. That's true. That's true. But we gotta move along. We're like 20 minutes in so far, so we're gonna get to some of these games. I want to go to that Arkansas versus Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Kansas State. I'm sorry, Kansas State versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma squeaked out a win, a 6-point win to the Kansas State Wildcats, 35-31. Ray, is this a reflection of the Oklahoma's team? I mean, they've been ranked, they're undefeated, but these games are either sloppy or don't look that good, and they're squeaking out wins. What is your takeaway from this game in particular?
I don't think Oklahoma has reached the level of offensive consistency that they had last year. I'm starting to wonder if they're going to now at this point. And we know their defense isn't strong enough to carry them. So when they have to play really good teams, they're probably not going to do that well.
Definitely. What's your take on Rattler? I mean, he if you look at the stat sheet, you're like, oh, he had a good game. 22 out of 25, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. What's your takeaway from him?
He doesn't look comfortable. He looks rattled. He really does. He just doesn't look like this. He doesn't – like last year he started out like this, but now that was 2 games. Now we're talking 4 or 5 games, and he's still playing the same way. He doesn't look confident. I don't know any other way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean – Kansas. I mean, I took Oklahoma. I believe you did as well. But Kansas State, I said, don't sleep on Kansas State because, I like their quarterback, Skylar Thompson. I think he's a real good college football quarterback that can do a lot of good things for you in the college level. But and obviously, Deuce Vaughn is my boy. I love him. They didn't do too much on Saturday. Only 15 attempts for 51 yards. But the team itself, I like them because they play good defense. They they can get up and down the field on you. Skylar can throw some touchdowns. So you had 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm just concerned with Oklahoma. Like, I really don't see them being one of the top 4 teams first and foremost. And 2, it's just like their inconsistencies, not being a really good defense. They only really have one identity. It's just being a passing offense, right? And that's concerning to me.
Well, they're not. The thing is, they're not making any big plays. So it's like everything is like they're throwing the ball still a decent amount, but they're just like dinking and dunking everywhere. And your buddy Deuce Vaughn had a nice game, catch 10 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. So he did something to help his team compete. I mean, I just think that Oklahoma, I think, went in there with the game plan of trying to shut him down, at least from getting in the run game, and they did a good job of that. But he got in space and still made plays on him. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma is a top 5 team. I don't think they're going to make – I'm pretty sure they're not going to make the playoffs because, like – you can't be a team like, I know that it shouldn't matter, but these guys that make these rankings, they go by style points, and their style points are not with Oklahoma right now.
I agree. And they haven't been looking hot right now. I don't know who to play next, the next couple of games. But I can look at it right now. Because they were 12-point favorites, and they only won by 6 points. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though. Like, and even though they shouldn't, these guys that make out these rankings, look, this team was supposed to win by 12, they won by 4. And that matters to them. I mean, maybe it shouldn't, but it does,
Definitely. Their remaining schedule is Texas this weekend, TCU, Kansas, Texas Tech was a sleeper team right there, Baylor, Iowa State, and then Oklahoma State. So they still have a chance to, win if not all their games, but it's just like the way they're doing, like you're saying, the style points. They'll get a nice bowl game, but I can't see them as a playoff team unless they turn things around really, really quick the next couple of games.
I'm looking forward to seeing them play Texas this week. I am.
I am.
It's a big game.
I agree. I think that'll be a good game. I think we
Yeah.
have it on here, so we'll definitely
We
talk
do.
about that.
Yep.
We do. So we'll talk about that in a second. All right, let's get to our next game because we are running behind. Oregon versus Stanford. Oregon losing in overtime to Stanford. Ray, did you see this coming?
I don't remember if we had this game last week, Jerome. I don't know if we were. I don't remember if we.
I have them all written down. I think we both said Oregon. If
I probably
we didn't have this game. We didn't have this game.
We did it, right?
We didn't even
No.
put it in our.
I was gonna say I don't remember picking this game, but no, because Stanford's been inconsistent, and like they're another one of them teams that I keep thinking they're going to turn it around and start playing good football again, and it hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. I would have picked Oregon to beat them. I'm a little surprised that they lost to them. Mm-hmm. But I think really a lot of the problem was that they ran the ball well. Mm-hmm. Oregon did, but they didn't throw the ball well, and they just didn't look. Anthony Brown didn't look comfortable throwing the ball, and he's usually a nice little system type player, but he just looked he looked a little rattled. So
definitely. They had to go into overtime. I think it was the first drive down. They got the touchdown, which is good for them. But I mean, for them to, I'm sorry, I'm thinking the other way around. Stanford won in overtime. Oregon started off slow. I mean, Stanford came out ready to punch them in the mouth, and they really did, and won in overtime. What do you think about McKee, Ray, the Stanford's quarterback? I did not see him playing like this in this game. He played really well.
This is probably one of the better games I've seen him play, actually. He didn't throw for a lot of yardage, but he completed a lot of nice amount of passes, and he scored 3 touchdowns, and he didn't turn the ball over. I mean, like, that's really what Stanford quarterbacks have. I mean, except for Andrew Luck, who was a special player. That's what Stanford quarterbacks usually do. They run the ball. They play. They have a nice play action. They usually play fairly well, or at least they don't turn the ball over, and that's what this guy didn't do. So,
I agree. Excuse my camera right now. I had to plug in my thing, and that's not right now. But I agree with you with that, Ray. I think that Oregon had the opportunity to win the game, and they really didn't. You guys are looking all over my floor. I apologize. Get that straightened out. There you go. Need my editors to edit that out. Edit it up. No, I'm my old editor. I edited it.
It's kind of hard to edit out something that's live, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. All right, I think we're good now. That was the joke, Ray. That was the joke. Yeah. All right, so live podcast. Anything happens, so you got to see a glimpse of my messy room. All right, anyway, let's get to our next game. Florida versus Kentucky. Wow. Ranked number 10, Florida gets upset by Kentucky. 20-13. Kentucky defense really played a good game because their offense did not do a lot. Kentucky's offense only mustered up 224 yards combined. Ray, what'd you take away with this game?
This was a sloppy game, mostly on Florida's part. To be honest with you, they didn't. Yeah. They were just really bad. They didn't do anything right. They had a lot of penalties. They just didn't. They didn't play good football. I mean, it's just that simple. Like it's what I mean. You can't be Florida and lose to Kentucky if you really think you're going to make noise later on in your conference. And they've showed. It's just funny. Like they play great against Alabama, and then they play like this. I don't get it. I don't understand. Football is a game of consistency. You don't always have to have the best players on the field, but if you play with consistency, and you play with like heart and teamwork, you'll be okay. Of course, yeah, you want talent, but Florida should not be in a situation where they're losing to Kentucky. It's Kentucky. It's not basketball. It's football.
This dude look like one of those playoff college football basketball games. Florida versus Kentucky. It really does. But it's crazy because, like you said, very sloppy game. Very Florida was shooting themselves in the foot the entire game. There was Emory Jones had a Harbaugh pick. Didn't do much on the ground. Had 13 yards rushing. He was their leading rusher. He had 13 of the most of their attempts, and only 63 yards on that. So they held him in check for the most part. And receivers didn't do much. Like I said, Kentucky's defense did what they needed to do in this game because Kentucky's offense didn't do much either. Their quarterback only had 87 total passing yards. Rodriguez had a good game with 99 yards and a touchdown, but he was the only consistent player on their offense. So it's like Florida, man, they really, really shot themselves on the foot, and being ranked number 10 at the time, that hurts. That hurts them a lot.
I mean, of course. I mean, like, their Will Levis, their quarterback for Kentucky, was 7 for 17. They only had 224 total offensive yards. I mean, Florida outgained them by 150 yards, and oh my God, like, I didn't watch this game. I only got to watch the highlights, but I have a feeling that I probably wouldn't want to watch it anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. It was just one of those games where you just like, man, what is going on in this game? Like, it was one of those games like, let me check some other ones to see what's going on at that one. Because at this point, it's just like,
it got to be a better game than this one right now. There has to,
For sure. All right, let's get to our next game. Oklahoma versus Baylor. I don't have the score up right now. Ray, what do you think about that one while I get my information straight?
I don't have that on my thing here, Jerome.
You don't either?
I don't. My next game that I have on here is Mississippi State, Texas A&M.
Yeah, all right.
Then I have Arizona State and UCLA. All right.
Definitely. All right.
You want to do Mississippi State first?
Yeah, let's do that. Mississippi State versus Texas A&M. A really good game, Ray. Again, I don't have that. There it is. Mississippi State beating Texas A&M 26-22. What's some of your takeaways on that one, Ray?
Very good game, actually. Will Rogers had a great game, 408 yards, 4 touchdowns, another 40 yards on the ground running the ball. Makai Polk, the wide receiver from Mississippi State, caught 13 balls for 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had this was a good game. It was back and forth most of the way. It was a very good game. I mean, I was very like a good game to watch, a fun game to watch. So, I mean, I don't know if Isaiah Spiller had a nice game for Texas A&M. They didn't get a whole lot done in the passing game. I think it's probably what cost Texas A&M any shot to really win the game in the end. But I mean, again, it was a good game. I mean, I just want good games, and it was a good game. So
I agree. Mississippi State did not want to run the ball. I mean, they hit 59 passing attempts. And out of those 59 pass attempts, you have 408 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Correct.
They were very efficient.
He completed 46 passes out of 59. That's pretty darn good, man. Jeez.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And usually when you passing too much, you're more prone to turnovers or strip sacks and things like that. You didn't see a lot of that, and they were just, what, we're sticking to what's working for us, and it worked out for them. They really started picking on those corners out there, and they picked up all the blitzes and things like that. I don't think they gave up a sack, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check.
So like I said, Mississippi State only had 40 yards rushing.
They did give up 3 sacks.
I mean, well, you throw the ball 59 times, you're probably going to give up.
You're gonna forget some of them. You're gonna forget some of those sacks.
Yeah,
but yeah, they had 3 sacks. So you are gonna give us some sacks with that. But
yeah,
it's just insane how that. I mean, these are 2 teams, in my opinion, like they kind of go back and forth each year. I mean, each time they play each other. So I was expecting something cool, and Texas A&M was 7-point favorite, and they lost.
yeah. That part, I did expect Texas A&M to win, but I think it was a good game, and I have no, it doesn't matter to me who wins this game.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch, like you said, and
Yep.
I think that these are the games that we love to watch and enjoy.
Yep.
All right, let's get to an LSU versus Auburn game. Auburn is 4-1 currently right now. 24-19 against LSU. Should we be paying attention to Auburn? I mean, Ray, we've been saying this for the last couple of years that we don't have any trust in Bo Nix. Bo Nix was 23 for 44, 255 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. So he played a good game. Running game obviously helps them out with the play action and things like that. What is your takeaway? He did run. He also ran for 74 yards and a touchdown. What is your takeaway on Bo Nix, Ray?
I think he's a good athlete who plays quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he has a solid arm. He don't have any real superior. There's nothing about his arm that's special. There's no accuracy that's special. There's no arm strength that's special. It's solid. He's a good athlete, though. I think, not wanting to jump ahead of myself. I think at the next level, he'll be a player. I'm not sure if he'll be a quarterback, but I think he'll be a player. And if he wants to be a quarterback, he could probably be a backup quarterback. So
definitely. And on the flip side, we got LSU who only had 37 rushing yards. That do not sound like an LSU team.
No, that's just not. They're not. I mean, we were saying.
I think they're living in a Joe Brady. Joe. Blanking on his name. Joe Burrow's era. I mean, they're trying to pass the ball so much, and they was never known for a passing team until that that magical year they had a few years ago. What do we think about LSU's approach to the season and how they've been? For me, they're a very disappointing team. I keep picking them to win, and they're disappointing me. I was hoping this defense will step up, and it's not really. They had maybe like one good defensive game. What's your take on this one?
I think that they don't run the ball consistently, and if they don't run the ball consistently, their defense is not as good as it's been the last few years. I just think that I think Max Johnson is a solid quarterback. He's not nothing special about him. He's just a solid player. But I don't think I just don't see where they're offensively. There's no balance to their offense. One week they're trying to run the ball a little bit, and the next week they're throwing on every down. There's just no consistency there. And I'm not surprised because I think, honestly, like I've said before, LSU will be fine. But they're going to be a year or two where they get back to having enough talent and enough depth to compete. Now, should they lose to Auburn? Maybe not. But I'm not surprised because Auburn has some good athletes on their team, of course.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn's one of those teams that, like we said earlier, when they win, and they're noticed. It's just 4-1. Like that kind of snuck up on me, to be honest, with this team. And they have high expectations with Bo Nix. He did have a good game, but I'm still trying to see more from him.
I think that they had a nice game plan here where they ran the ball fairly well and they used a tight end. So that could be something that they actually used 2 tight ends a lot, and they both scored for them. So it's like I can see, like, if you're going to be Auburn and you have a quarterback who you think is solid, who can help you win games as long as you don't ask him to do nothing crazy with the ball, going to my tight ends and running the ball is how I want to treat that quarterback. So,
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about what they do next week a little bit later on when we do our pick'ems.
Yeah.
But I want to see how if they can sustain some of those good plays and help Bo Nix out. But we'll get into that. Let's get to our last two games. Arizona State versus UCLA. This was the game that helped me get an inch closer to you and I'll pick them. This is the game. This is literally the game that we both disagreed on. The only game that we both disagreed on. You had UCLA winning. I had Arizona State. Arizona State won handily, 41 to 23. Ray, what was your takeaway from this one? What happened with UCLA besides Chip Kelly?
Again, I think Dorian Thompson struggled in this game. He had an okay game. I think Chip Kelly is a good offensive coordinator. I think that when his defenses struggle, he doesn't know what to do about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Arizona State, man, good.
I go with what the line tells me to go with every week. I mean, and I'm not making excuses. I thought that UCLA would win the game. I thought it'd be close, but I thought they would win the game.
Yeah.
But I think you saw what you saw out of Herman Edwards' Arizona State team is on offense, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play. They're going to have a balanced offense. And we're not going to give you any big plays downfield, Chip Kelly. So if you want to methodically stay with us, you can. But I don't think you can. And he was right.
I agree. This is the matchup of the Philly guys as head coaches. Herm Edwards played in Philly. Chip Kelly coached in Philly. We are.
Yeah, well, here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. Herm Edwards is a Philly guy, and when or a Northeast type of a guy who loves football and is very passionate. And I don't even know. I think Herm Edwards may be from the West Coast somewhere. I'm not even sure about that, but I know mentality-wise, he is that guy who gets it. Where Chip Kelly, I'm not sure he gets it. So,
yeah, for sure, he didn't get it, and it was definitely fitting that LaShawn McCoy retired as an Eagle on the same weekend that Chip Kelly lost. So I'm just saying. It's not connected at all. It's no parallel universe for that. No, I'm just saying. I don't know why you even said that. I apologize.
You don't think Shady McCoy has anything against Chip Kelly, do you?
No. Not even. No way. All right, let's get to our last game. Obviously, this game is special to me because this was a statement game in my heart. The Michigan Wolverines versus the Wisconsin Badgers. Michigan winning 38-17. This is a good game. I mean, this is one of those games where Michigan really showed up, and these were the games I was looking for last year. This is a validation game for me. I think that we are. I'm not gonna say a top crazy, one of those teams that should be saying what a lot of people might be saying right now. I'm not gonna go there. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. But as a Michigan fan, these wins like this make me very happy. Wisconsin been beating up on us the last 2 years by crazy margins, and Michigan really pulled it out, especially in the fourth quarter when we were already up. They kind of took away our running game just a little bit. As crazy as we've been running, well, for running backs, 47 and 46 yards, respectively, between Haskins and Corum. So it was up to McNamara to pass the ball, and it looked shaky at first, but he really pulled it out and won passing the ball, which is something I really wanted to see. 14 out was going to try to stop the run. Ray, what was your thoughts on this Michigan game, and why is Michigan the best team ever?
Well, I think like you said, I think McNamara had a nice completion percentage. Everything was all like short or underneath, but he did a nice job of not turning the ball over, managing the game. And you saw Michigan's defense is getting back to where they're playing good football. And like we talked about, Graham Mertz stinks. Okay. He's horrible, man. Talk about a guy between him, Brock Purdy, and Tanner Morgan. Them guys ought to write a books about how you play well, really, really well for 1 year, and then you stink after that.
Yeah, those three quarterbacks we talk about a lot in this podcast, and for those reasons, I just think that I was very happy to see some of how the play calling is, and for me, that's one of the bigger things because a lot of the issues I had last year, and if you guys wasn't watching the RPO podcast, I can't even count how many times I said fire Jim Harbaugh on those on those. But I'm happy that
every show at least 5 times.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
almost as much as I say fire Howie. It's refreshing to see that he was willing to change and willing to do something with this offense to make them better. And that was something the last couple of years I have not seen from Jim Harbaugh. Him and the offensive coordinator, I forgot his name, changed up a lot of things. They got a new defensive coordinator from the linebacker coach from Baltimore. I keep forgetting his name. But you can see that they're not the same Michigan team, because there were times before when a team would do the same thing over and over again, and you would see them just get beat on it over and over and over and over again. And then the next week, the next team do the same thing, and you just see it over and over, and no changes. Like this year, you see changes. You see, the team is excited about the plays. Like you got to see a flea flicker in a game. I don't remember the last time I seen a flea flicker in college football, to be honest. So it's just like, for me, it's just really refreshing to see some of the play calling from this Michigan team. Makes me it's finally making me proud to be a Michigan fan. So that was my take on it, Ray. You got anything to say extra?
No, I mean, again, I like it better when Michigan's playing good football. I just don't. Unlike you, I knew they were never going to fire Jim Harbaugh. So I'm just glad to see that he could elevate it. Like, you know what? Yeah, man, every once in a while, even if you're a head coach, you got to go to your assistant and say, yo, man, what do you think about what we're doing here? Yeah. What do you think about what we're doing there? What are we doing on third down when this happens? What are we doing on second and first down when this is happening? I mean, that's the thing about a coach. I mean, I know Jim Harbaugh likes to call plays, and I know most offensive-minded or maybe even defensive-minded guys like to call plays. But you need to observe what is going on your team. You can't be so engrossed on either side of the ball that you're not paying attention to what your assistants are doing. Let's face it. Like, I'm a Dolphins fan. Right now, Miami's running into a problem with their assistant coaches. No one knows who's in charge of what. That's what I got to feel with Michigan last year. Like, no one knew who was in charge of what. So no one was answering to anybody. And Harbaugh was, I think Jim Harbaugh is one of them guys that hates losing. So that's why I'm not surprised that he has made these steps to improve himself as a coach. I mean, because I know he's a competitive guy. And this is what people don't understand. Like, when you win, it's great for a day. When you lose, it stays with you till you play the next game. Okay? And that's what it takes to be a good football coach. And honestly, that's the difference between a good football fan and a casual football fan. A win is great. Sunday, Monday, you're great. It's great. That loss will stay with you till you play that next game, next Sunday or Saturday, whatever the case is.
There's losses that stick with me more than
some of the
exactly
right. If you
I'll never get over that Appalachian State loss.
Yes, I mean
years ago. Like it really feels like it happened like a year ago, and I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. So I get what you're saying with that. Like,
I mean, it's like it's not the wins or the championships that you or the big playoff wins that you remember. It's that loss that you had that you can't forget, dude.
I agree. Well, let's talk about some wins or losses from us, Ray. Thanks for that segue right there. Our pick'em. So if you look right down there, you see the score line right down there. I'm inching a little bit closer. Ray's still in the lead. He's got 4 games ahead of me right now. So golf flaps to you. Golf flaps to you. I got that one game last week that helped me propel me a little bit closer to you, Ray. But let's get our week 6 pick'ems, and we're gonna see how we do this year. So let's get to our first game: Stanford versus Arizona State. 2 teams that had really good wins this past week. Arizona State. Let me see. The Arizona State is favored by 13. Wow, it went way up. Are you taking Arizona State, Ray?
Yes, I am.
I know you are.
Who would you take? I mean, like, come on.
I'm gonna take Arizona State too, Ray. But you like your Stanford, and I didn't know if you had conflictions against your, the team that you really like, or the spread.
We just got done talking for 5 minutes about how Stanford's been inconsistent, and we were surprised they won this week, and now they're favorable. They're a 13-point underdog, and I'm not going to pick against them. Okay.
All right, we can move on to that one then. Yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, our next game is Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Arkansas just coming off a hard loss to Georgia. They still ranked 13, which is still good for them. They're 4-1 right now, so that was their first loss last week. They're going against Ole Miss at home. Ole Miss is favored by 6 at home. They're their 17th ranked team right now. Who are you taking this one, right?
I'm taking Mississippi, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm taking Arkansas, and the reason why is that I think that Arkansas is going to come back like, this is not us. We're better than this, and they were rolling. And I just think that I can't take that game away from them. Like, they look terrible against Georgia, but Georgia is such a good team. Like, they're gonna be the best team to beat Alabama. Let me say that. Let me phrase it like that.
Arkansas?
No. I'm saying Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Okay.
So they ran into a really good team, and I think that Arkansas was hot, and I think they're gonna continue that. So I'm gonna take Arkansas on this one. Why would you say Ole Miss over Arkansas? Don't say the spread.
Okay, then you don't want me to say nothing. Okay. All right.
Oh man, you trust those Vegas guys way too much.
There's a reason why they're Vegas guys, and we're listening to them. Okay.
All right. Oklahoma versus Texas. Oklahoma is ranked number 6. Texas is ranked number 21. Oklahoma is favored by 3.5 right now. On an away game. Ray.
It's
2 very inconsistent teams. What do you think?
I would love to take Texas here, but I'm going to take Oklahoma, I think, man.
I agree. Both teams been inconsistent for me and showing a lot of weaknesses, but I think Texas is more inconsistent.
You just said exactly how I feel. I mean, I keep waiting for Texas to play with some consistency, and they haven't been able to do it. So how can I have faith that they're going to do it this week?
Definitely. I agree. All right, let's get to the team. This game, I don't know if we're going to disagree on this one, because they're favored by 15.5 points. Georgia versus Auburn. This is one of those rivalries that we watch every year. So I wanted to put this on here, but we're both picking Georgia. I'm just gonna pick that. I'm just gonna pencil that one in. But do Auburn have any chance to at least bring some spirit to it? No.
Okay. No, Bo Nix will go back to being Bo Nix, and Georgia would just completely shut him down. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see. I'm just gonna wait for that Alabama game.
I mean, honestly, if I had my way, if it were like what I wanted to happen, I would still go with Arizona State. I would have Ole Miss. I would go with Texas and Auburn, but that's not going to happen. So I'm not going to do that. You know,
I agree. I agree. This might be the game of the week, right?
I
This
agree with
game,
that.
I'm super excited to watch this. I might not be able to watch it. I will tune in because I think they play the same time in Michigan. I'm watching Michigan. I don't care. Sorry. Oh no, Michigan plays later, so I might be able to watch both. But Penn State versus Iowa. Iowa is favored by 1.5 points at home. Penn State or Iowa, right? This one's close.
I hate to say this, man. I think I'm going to go with Penn State, Jerome.
Woo! Right. I don't know who to pick. I really don't know who to pick.
I mean, I think that Penn State is a better offensive team than Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I think both defenses are fairly good. I think Iowa maybe is a little bit better than Penn State. I just think if Iowa were that good, then they'd be favored by more than 2 at home against Penn State. And I think that Penn State's a better coach team. So, you know.
Yeah, I will agree with all your points.
But I know you hate Penn State. It's okay. Go ahead.
I do. No, this is the thing. All right. I'm a Michigan fan. I don't hate Penn State because I grew up in the Pennsylvania area.
You hate Penn State. Okay.
So, you see a lot more Penn State games than you want to sometimes. So I don't hate them. I root for them. I hope they win, because I like when, our area is happy when they win. And they
for one, Penn State's 6 hours from here. It's not local, okay?
Penn State's not 6 hours away.
Penn State is 6 hours from here, man.
No, it ain't.
It is. I drove right past there going.
I drove there before.
It's a 6 hour. Yeah, Jerome. What, you go 90? It's a 6 hour ride.
No, I used to do Lyft, and I got taken there by accident. And I dropped off a student there. It's only maybe 45 minutes from Philadelphia, if I'm not mistaken.
Penn State?
Penn State.
45 minutes?
Big, though. Penn State is big. Don't get me wrong, but it's only.
No, you went to a surrounding campus like Rutgers, Camden. No, it's not. Penn State is a 6 hour ride from here.
I don't know about that, Ray. We're gonna look that up.
I'm looking it up right now as we speak. Actually,
I think I'm right, Ray. Because I remember when I was doing Lyft, it was not 6 hours away driving. I promise you that. And I promise it was Penn State, unless they had an off-site campus or something like that. But
yeah, or the University of Penn.
No, it was Penn State. He's withholding information, guys. That's why he's taking so long. But while he's looking at that, oh man, it's such a hard pick because in a sense, I want to say Iowa because I've been kind of on Iowa's train, but Penn State been playing better. Sean Clifford, he has been playing a lot better. As much as I give him grief, he has been looking a lot better this year. And every time I pick against them, they win. This was tough for me. I'm going to go with the line on this one, Ray. I'm gonna give it to Iowa slightly. Okay.
I'm sorry, it's a 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember driving that far. Okay. But okay. You was more right than I was, so I apologize.
No, I thought it was. I've never been to Penn State. I actually thought it was a little bit farther than that, but it's still not local. Temple's local.
Yeah, it's not
Rutgers is still local. The University of Maryland's more local than Penn State.
True. True. That's true. But yeah, I gotta go with Iowa. I'm gonna go with this line with this one. It's way too tough of a pick, so I'm gonna go with the line with this one, Ray. I'm gonna take a page out of your book, do that with that one, and just hope that I'm right because I need my.
Well, the thing is that when the line tells me to take Penn State there though, not Iowa.
Yeah, because they're home. You're right.
God.
I'm still saying Iowa.
No, I want you to stay with Iowa. I know you're a Penn State hater. It's okay, guys.
Oh man, that's gonna hurt because I think Michigan played Iowa this year, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, we don't actually.
No, I don't think you play them this year.
Yeah, let me check. I got it right here. I was playing Penn State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, and Nebraska to end the season. So no, we don't play them unless we play in the championship this year. So all right. Well, in that case,
Michigan.
Iowa.
Either Michigan or Iowa may play in the championship game, but one of these going to play against Ohio State, right?
That's true.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
We'll see. We're not talking about that game. We're not talking about that game right now. I'm not talking about the game at all this year until the game comes up. We're gonna talk about.
There you go.
Anyway, let's get to our next one. TCU versus Texas Tech. TCU is favored by 1.5 away. Who are you taking this one? I was very surprised to see TCU's favorite. To be honest,
I'm taking TCU.
Really?
Yep.
I've been on the Texas Tech train all year. I'm not getting off of it. I think Texas Tech got this one. They're very a lot talented team that a lot of people expect. Although I just said earlier that TCU is one of those teams that is gonna bug you throughout the games, but I really do think I really do like Texas Tech. I do see them pulling this one off in an upset. And it's not that much of a. I mean, they are home, but it's not that much of a line. So I think
that's the only reason to vote to take them is because they're home.
Yeah.
Because if TCU is a 1.5 point favorite, it's almost like they're a 4-point favorite. Then.
4 point, yeah. So it's still a small margin. So I think that's a good game.
No, it's a good game. I'm expecting a good game. I really, out of all these games, I'm expecting all of them to be pretty good, except for Georgia and Auburn and Arizona State and Stanford. I think most of the other UCLA could wind up blowing out Arizona after the way they played bad last week.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that one. Let's talk about Notre Dame versus Virginia Tech. Ray, who you got in this one?
I got Notre Dame.
I got Notre Dame as well. I think this will definitely be a good game. Notre Dame is favored by 1 point though. So that tells you how much the voters think about Virginia Tech. I mean, Virginia Tech started off really well, and then they had that really bad game. I forgot who they played that they lost to really badly too. But I think that was one of those games where you just like, it is what it is. You move on, and they've been playing really well since. So look forward to that game. Let's get to Alabama versus Texas Tech. I don't think either of us was getting off Alabama, right?
Yeah, no, we're taking Alabama, dude. Why don't we? There ain't a whole lot of reason to talk about that game, is there?
No. All right, move on. Utah versus USC. Utah is favored by 3 points at home, which means this is a pick'em game. Who are you picking in this one, Ray?
UCLA's favored, correct?
UCLA is favored at home, though.
You know what? I'm going to take UCLA.
I'm sorry, not UCLA. USC.
USC. I'm sorry. I'm going to take USC.
I'm going to take USC as well. Utah. I like Utah. As you guys, if you've been watching our old podcast, I keep saying this, one of those teams that I really do like their team. I like their coach and I like their defense, but they kind of disappointed me this year. And I think USC. Being home will be the deciding factor. I think this is going to be a good game, though.
I think it'll be a good game. I think slowness will probably be the difference in the end. I think that
I agree.
We'll have the ball last, and they'll find a way to probably win the game.
I agree with that. Next game, we got UCLA versus Arizona. The line definitely changed line because I was seeing the line early in this week. It was not plus 16 for Arizona. So. UCLA is favored by 16. Are you taking UCLA, Ray?
I am.
All right, I am as well. And the last game we're gonna talk about, Michigan versus Nebraska. Michigan is favored by 3.5 points away. Are you taking Michigan or are you gonna disappoint me?
Jerome, you know better than that. You know better than that, man. Come on.
Michigan,
Michigan's favored by
baby.
3.5 on the road. Who am I taking?
Pick Michigan. I know you are.
Okay. All right. All right.
All right. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Before we get off though, I have to ask a question. Should we be taking my team seriously this year?
As a contender for your conference, yeah.
Contender. Okay.
As a contender to make the playoffs, no.
Okay. There's another question. I'm very curious to see what you're gonna say, but we're gonna hold on. I'm not taking any of those comments right now. You already know what I'm talking about. We're not taking none of those comments, but guys, thank you so much for checking us out this week. I'm so happy to be here today. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. I had to put that in there. I'm sorry, Ray. But super excited to be a Michigan Wolverine fan right now. It's always great to see my team actually be good because we had a terrible last 2 years. So it's great to see that. Ray, any final words with your Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
Nah, just again, going out there was really good for me. I really enjoyed it. Like I said in the chat the other day with Ryan, I'm like, dude, if they'd have won, it would have been like the cherry on the top. You know what I mean? To go there and to feel the atmosphere and to feel there's just an excitement at the stadium. I've said all along, and I think we said it the last week, college football fans are the best. The best.
That means you are the best.
Correct. You are the best. Okay. There's no doubt about that. And anybody who doubts it, go to a stadium that holds between 80 and 110,000 people. You won't feel that way anymore. Okay. And I'm getting goosebumps right now, and I'm 59. Okay.
It's such a great experience for college football. The atmosphere, the students, the way the team rallies, and it's just so good to have college football. And when your team is good, and especially when it's your favorite team, it just feels that much better. Just hearing their chants, like the Michigan chants I just did, and anything else like that. It's just great to see the traditions of these teams, throughout the years, and it still carries on. So, I love that part about the nostalgic of the teams and how they represent each other, and the closeness of the students. So I'm super excited about this, man. I can't wait to the next 8 weeks that we have. It's still exciting. It's still early in the season, so everything that we talk about now can completely change in a couple of weeks, and that's the greatness about college football. Unless you're Alabama, and nothing changed with them, but anything can change, man. And everything, each week and each game is exciting. You never know who's going to be upset. You never know who's going to win. It's a little bit different from NFL. You can kind of get, not get as many upset games throughout the week. You kind of predict them a little bit differently. But it's always great to see some college football in the atmosphere, like you're saying. So thank you guys for checking us out, man. I'm super excited, as you may see. Make sure you go check us out on all our platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and Facebook. Check us out on our website, Inside the Hashes, where you can find all our content. You can find, us, our podcast. You can see we have Game Winner. You can also see, our fantasy football. I'm doing terrible right now, so you can go see how terrible I'm doing right now. I think I'm 1-3, so go check that out. You can go see all our player interviews, all our players that we talk about. That's in college football. We interview a lot of those, so make sure you check that out. InsideTheHashes.com, and you can listen to all player interviews on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Just type in Inside the Hashes, and you will find all that in there. And last but not least, if you are on YouTube right now, please like and subscribe, because you can watch this later on. You can. If you weren't able to put your live comment in here, you go in there, put your comment in there, and we will answer any comments that you put on YouTube. So make sure you go to youtube.com, search Inside the Hatchers, because we got a lot more content than just podcasts. We got gaming, we got videos, we got more interviews, things like that. So check it out, Inside the Hashes on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you know we are live each week. We try to do this every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We usually be on time with that, so make sure you tune in each time you can. I would like to thank each one of you guys because you're special to us as college football fans. As we just said, you guys are the best, and we really do appreciate and love doing this podcast each and every week. I know that Ray feels the same exact way with
Absolutely.
that. So thank you guys for checking us out. I'm Jerome Jones. This is Ray Roberts right over here. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Hope to see you next week and enjoy your college football. Have a good one.